Under 6, consideration to approve the employment of a new professional personnel, Ms. Garcia.
And the recommendation is that the School Board of Trustees approve the employment of new professional personnel as discussed in closed.
And this is a special ed person.
Special ed position.
Motion.
Motion by Mr. Cruz, do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Espinosa. Questions, concern? Not all in favor? Motion carries 7-1. On the other it was informational, reassignments, we don't have to do anything.
The ad will.
The Ed will consider to approve the employment of new Ed will personnel. These are mostly substitutes for custodians, cafeteria. Recommendation.
The recommendation is that the School Board of Trustees approve the employment of the new at-will employees, including substitute custodians, substitutes maintenance, as discussed in closed.
Motion.
Motion by Mr. Mata, do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Espinosa. Questions, concern? Not all in favor? Okay, motion carries. We're gonna go into now action items. A, discussion action to approve the implementation of the innovative course, Student Industry Connection, providing students with the opportunity to develop professional relationships with the experienced individuals within the student's chosen program of study and to determine necessary skills for an online virtual workplace. Ms. Garcia.
The recommendation is that the Board of Trustees approve the implementation of innovative course, Student to Industry Connection, providing students with the opportunity to develop professional relationships with experienced individuals within the student's chosen program of study and demonstrate necessary skills for an online virtual workplace.
And this is basically what, I mean, with the,
This course is specifically described by the Texas Education Agency as being eligible to meet the requirements of the 3 CTE endorsements, business and industry, public service, science, technology, engineering, mathematics, STEM. This course is focused on employability skills, professional relationships, and virtual workplace readiness can contribute to students pursuing any of these 3 CTE-focused endorsements. So this specific course will help all of these 3 areas.
students have to apply or they may select it as a,
Yeah.
Who's gonna be teaching the course, or what's the syllabus look like, or?
That I don't know, but in your board packet, we have the Texas Essential Knowledge and Skills, and the recommended course activities, suggested methods for evaluating student outcomes. I'm not sure who's going to be teaching it as far as an assignment for student to industry connection. What type of certificates can teach this course? Any vocational or career and technical education CTE classroom teaching certificate. A special education early childhood through grade 12 teacher can also teach it. And special education supplemental certification can also teach this course. So any one of those, any teacher that holds those certifications can teach this course.
Okay, I have a couple of questions. Is there a cost to the district to implement this?
It doesn't say budgetary information on this, and my understanding is that they already have the person to teach this course, because it's connected to special education.
Will they be online or, in class or virtual?
I believe it's in class.
do you have any knowledge of that? Since you're the director, special ed.
Has the course been offered before?
That I'm not sure.
I think this is new from TA.
Yeah.
And my other question is this gonna assist with the HB3 funding? I mean, we've been missing out in the funding model and trying to capture dollars as far as people who, receive their, CTE certifications or whatever. So, as they mentioned, we got $0, and I believe we've been getting $0 for the past 4, 5, 6 years. So is it something that's gonna improve that, help with that, or?
If it's a CTE certified teacher that teaches this course, and this is a CTE course, which it is, it's just a matter of turning on the indicator and turning it on for all the students inside the classroom, and for every student inside that classroom, we receive a certain amount of money, which would then help funding.
We would still have to track though, right, the CCMRs and everything to be able to get that fund?
All of that is tracked through Ascender and then PEMS.
And this is for high school, right?
High school, correct.
I think it's 11. Okay,
And we have the classroom where to carry out the instruction?
I believe so. I spoke to Ms. Houston this morning, and from what she told me, it's, they already have it ready. They have this ready to go.
just waiting for the approval.
Yes,
Students already?
I'm sure it is.
Is there gonna be like a limit as to how many kids can be in the class at one time?
That I don't know. I would need to have that conversation with her, or Ms. Briones would.
I'd like to see what the actual class is going to offer. I mean, I understand what TEA has written here and all the documentation, but what does the syllabus look like for our teacher? You know, what are they gonna actually be teaching? Is it gonna be a class where they go and sit in front of a computer and look for, I don't know, business opportunities out there, or what is it gonna be? I don't know.
But the curriculum is going to be the TEKS. That's what they have to adhere to. How they schedule how they schedule or model their unit, that's their design, that's the teacher's design, but they have to adhere to the essential knowledge and skills. That is their curriculum.
Seeing has,
It just guides them into the workforce and
Yes, it does.
It's kindly here, I mean, it's stating that the essential, the TICs are gonna follow, but
what is the teacher going to be teaching? I mean, I understand that it's supposed to guide them into the workplace. Is it gonna happen?
It has,
It's gonna be another, I mean, I don't know, a class where they go in there and sit in front of a computer and not do much.
that's,
that's another,
Yeah.
that's another question for, I'm very sure, again, that high school administration already reviewed this, since they have it in place. Once they started, I mean, Ms. Verones or Ms. Garcia, we might ask, at the next regular, board meeting for, Ms. Houston to give us a report. Right now, I mean, all we have to do is approve it, and we can, you can make a note of that, and maybe on the regular meeting for next week, she can give us a report on grade 4, what they're doing, and all those questions that we have here. Recommendation is what?
recommendation is that the Board of Trustees approve the implementation of innovative course, Student to Industry Connection, providing students with the opportunity to develop professional relationships with experienced individuals within the student's chosen program of study, and to demonstrate necessary skills for an online virtual workplace.
Motion,
So move.
Mr. Bonilla, second.
Second.
Mr. Espinosa, questions?
I have one last question, sir.
Yep.
That's it, you mentioned that whoever the instructor is has to be a certified teacher, whether regular or K or. And we cannot assign a para. Okay.
No, it specifically says here, and this is straight from TEA. It says on page 5 of this page, but it's 45 in your packet, and it says specifically an assignment for student to industry connection is allowed with one of the following certificates, and it lists which ones.
Ready.
Any more questions? Not all in favor? Against? Abstaining, you're against? 6-1,
Abstain.
abstaining.
I feel like we're rushing into something that I don't think.
We're only approving it, ahorita, and that's why I'm requesting that, that we have a presentation. I mean, coming from PA, I mean, I think it's something.
I think they want to know that our kids are prepared to go out in the real world and
What I-
how to present themselves and
So we have, 5 in favor, and you abstain?
Abstain, yeah.
And you voted against?
So, and part of that presentation, I would like to know, you know, the curriculum, what's gonna be offered. Is it gonna be a kind of a co-op? Or, you know, can they work a co-op into it, or what can be done part of this class?
That's why I'm telling Ms. Garcia to, on the September meeting for the principal to come here and give us a presentation.
Just to clarify, to add to your point, so the TEKS, they are the curriculum. How they're implemented is what hopefully our administration is gonna get. The strategies, the actual content is what they should be, have already.
Since it's a CTE course, it might be that we already have the full organized curriculum by TEKS through ICBE. That's the curriculum that the school board approved last year for CTE courses, and that has everything organized, laid out. It might be that that is where we're getting the curriculum from, but the curriculum itself is what the state mandates, which are the TEKS.
If I remember correctly, I don't think we've had any CAPE courses for business since I don't know when. We used to have at least one CTE instructor that handled that, but it's been quite a while. So
I think just more information on the class itself would be great. Just not only for us, but also so that the students and parents can know what opportunities there are for their kid, for the students and things.
oh, sure.
I can see a lot of possibilities, you know, with work-based, you know, skills that can be applied to this, so just more information.
I've made a note of it, that way we can have Ms. Houston present next.
Yeah, you
next-
come and
next board
present
meeting.
what it's about and all that.
Second it?
Well, Gabe,
Nia, second,
Second,
Yeah.
you did the second?
yeah, I made the motion, he seconded.
and then we voted, 5, 1 abstention, 1 against.
I won one, yeah.
Okay, the other one is discussion action to approve the implementation of innovative course, general employability skills, providing instruction in general employability knowledge and skills. Ms. Garcia,
The recommendation is that the Board of Trustees approve the implementation of innovative course, general employability skills, providing instruction in general employability knowledge and skills. And this it's a CTE endorsement that are part of the 5 endorsements in Texas high school graduation programs mandated by HB 5. Number 1, business and industry. Number 2, public services. Number 3, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, STEM. Number 4, arts and humanities. And number 5, multidisciplinary studies. The general employability skills course provides foundational skills applicable across various career fields, and as such, it supports students in pursuing any of the CTE endorsements, which in turn fall under the broader categories listed above.
and your recommendation?
Recommendation is that the Board of Trustees approve the implementation of innovative course, general employability skills, providing instruction in general employability knowledge and skills.
A motion? The Nia, second. Second, Ms. Young, questions, concern?
I have a question.
Sir.
As far as, let's say, for example, we implement it, it gets approved, we implement it, what are the consequences if we don't follow or we don't produce any?
I think they're just more concerned with our CTE numbers and,
Yeah, that's what I'm, yeah.
yeah. Because I mean, this will just fall in hand with it if the kids are getting the opportunity to take these different courses.
If the students are offered the course and they complete the course, adhering, and the teacher adheres to the TEKS that are listed, which we do not have a choice, we have to follow the TEKS, then the student gets credit for the course, which is probably aligned, it has to be aligned to their program of study, which would give us a completer as opposed to a concentrator. It allows the student to complete the program, which would impact our CCMR scores.
How long has this been in place?
I think they're new. Just coming
I think they're
CTA.
new,
This is fairly new?
yes.
Yeah, they're just coming from,
Because even on the TEA website, they've got a really big push for pipeline into the regular workforce immediately.
I think this, the same, I mean, for me, the same thing, I would want to see additional information on what's going to be implemented and how the teacher's going to implement it and how the course is going to be, taught and what the students will get out outside of what's.
go ahead and just tell Ms. Houston also to give us a brief.
I'm curious to know how they're gonna, or administration's gonna section it off by 6 weeks because, or grading periods, because it's pretty basic. This is teaching courtesy at work, proper language, proper use
Social
of,
skills,
how to dress,
answer the phone,
yeah,
get through the phone.
things like that, and because I went through the elements and it's basically what it is. And I'm thinking somewhere along the line, it's supposed to shift over to looking into the interest of our kids, see if any of them line with any kind of job skills. So you can help them refine those.
Well, we will work on getting a syllabus for you all.
Yeah, that's what.
Presentation, I mean, would be
Yeah.
better,
That's what I
because, I mean,
see.
we can ask, we get a syllabus, I mean, we're gonna be having the same questions, I mean, just, I mean, for her and her team to come.
When I read out both of these, that we're just voting on, the first thing that comes to me is co-op work, a co-op. I don't know if that falls under CTE or not, or if it can fall under something like this, but that's the first thing that pops up into me of working, real world industry work and a couple of hours out of the business or something. That's what I wanted to know, to see if that's what it is or what's gonna be done.
Yeah. Well, we can have Ms. Houston here.
Recommendation,
Recommendation is that the Board of Trustees approve the implementation of innovative course, general employability skills, providing instruction in general employability, knowledge, and skills.
It's already voted on, so.
Was-
We already made a motion and second, take a vote.
She second.
okay, and who motion?
Mr. Bonilla.
Bonilla, Peggy second,
Second, yeah.
all in favor? Against? 6-1. Okay, I mean, now we're gonna go to, 8, budget workshop. Afternoon, sir.
Velasquez.
You've got a document here.
Sir, do you have anything that we can share on
I do
the?
not, I do not. What you got in your hand is what I've got.
We need,
This,
This is
yes,
what you gave us.
yes. This is what will end up being, not necessarily these numbers, but this is a sample, and the data on here is the current data that's in the system. In your sender system, that's the school district's operating system of student services, finance, and so forth. This data in here is in that system. So I won the lotto on left here, that data is there. Okay? That's not what's happened before in this district for the last couple. Somebody's had it on a laptop and they've left. This data is connected to your software, to your system, which is also at Region 20, it's housed at Region 20. What you're looking at is the top portion is your revenue. Officially, the board adopts a budget by function and organization of funds. The first fund that you look at is the 100s, which is the 199 fund, which is state and local revenue, state and local sources. Local sources being taxes, gate receipts, rental of property, things of that nature, even donations. Currently, what we've got in the system is from local revenues, approximately $10,939,293. totaling $22,313, I'm sorry, $22,313,642. For special revenues, that's federal. The board does not adopt federal funds. Those are grants that are granted to the district. The program directors submitted applications for those grants probably in May, April, end of June maybe, at the most. They're awarded those dollars based on the application that they submitted. They in turn award the district. Between the program director of the district and TA, they identify what's going to payroll, to contracted services, supplies, and other items. They do it by the object code, but those are not required to come to the board.
Yeah, on the federals, I mean, you're talking about Title I,
Yes, sir.
migrant, what other federal programs we got?
Got a few.
Title I, Title II, Title III, which is the ESL, we work with Region 20 on that
Do you
one.
have anything for special ed?
Yes, we do.
Get
Yeah,
from-
IDA,
Two
Mila
small
B.
grants. Idea grants.
Yeah, but those are all the four federal.
Exactly, yes, sir. So if you notice, there's zero there because it does not come to the board. Those are grants that are given to the district and then the directors and superintendent and principals together and distribute those funds.
Can you back up a little bit? Let's start with 5,700, the revenue local intermediate. Local, I'm assuming is property taxes.
It's property taxes, gate receipts, rental of property, donations, anything coming from within the community.
And this
What about
is,
intermediate?
Intermediate or such as, we provided a service for the city, we're gonna rent property to them or something, that is the source. It can be another governmental agency bringing in some revenue. Several years back, this facility, this property you're looking at, you're sitting in, was rented to a nonprofit as well. That's considered intermediate as well. Okay, it's a source, it's not a governmental source, it's not necessarily federal, state, and it's not from within, so it's called an intermediate source. It's still within the boundaries of local intermediate sources.
and that number is based off of current market value of homes or current,
But the tax value, if you'll notice,
Tax
at the
value.
bottom, the tax value down there, your projected tax rates. Way at the bottom is the general.
That's one.
Pardon? Yeah, that's what's down there. So it does come from taxes. It's about 9 point something million that's estimated to come in from taxes alone. Now, the values dropped, the certified values dropped against what they previously predicted or preliminary. The estimated taxes out of that number is only $9,703,165. That's a 95% estimate of collections, not at 100, approximately 95% compared to the value and the tax rate. The tax rate is the compressed rate that the state has this district currently under. Okay, so
So right now, your estimate is that adjusting property taxes alone, your estimate's about 14 million, 14.5 million.
where is
For
it?
the,
that's the 9.7 million is what he just said. That would be on tax.
9.7 million in taxes alone. Between, in that 5,700, that's where that 9.7 is at. The difference is 2.3, 2.2 is from other sources.
Well, what percentage did we lose compared to last year based off of taxes, tax revenue?
We lost about maybe, we went from 1,600,000,000 to 1,500,000,000 in values.
About 10, 11%?
Now, the certified value that the appraisal district provided the district is not the last value that TA and the controller will look at. The appraisal district will settle up with taxpayers that file grievances or new properties that get appraised or buildings come into play, different values, they'll submit that at the end of December to the controller. TA will get those numbers and reevaluate what this district is due based on their formulas. So they'll make an adjustment. If the value is increased, they'll say, well, then you get less money because it's $1 per child. Okay? So the contribution currently is approximately 64% comes from the taxes and local side, and the difference comes from TA. Several years back, it was 84% from the state, and the difference came in from taxes. We turned around now, because now it's considered a property-rich district, based on the minerals and so forth.
So what you're saying, the more money we collect, the less money we're gonna get from the state.
Exactly right. Now, last meeting you had, you adopted a resolution about chapter 41 to chapter 48. If we get to a limit that TA says you're collecting more than what you should, the excess revenue, then TA gets that and then redistributes out to other school districts.
Has there been indication that that will occur?
Not yet this year, no, because our value went down. So we're hoping it stays that way. Okay, so you'll notice on that column, the 100 column, you have 5,800s. Those dollars are estimated for all state programs, special ed, GT, bilingual, SE, career and technology that you mentioned just a minute ago, from the basic allotment from just regular education of kids. That's based, and this was done on a formula of 1411, the ADA 1411. We finished, the school district finished with 1411, 1412. It's done like at 1411. I got some news today because I am asking the staff to monitor that. Currently, the enrollment was at about 1335. That's enrollment. That's not even average deviation.
Oh,
It's actually exactly 1335. So I have to go redo the summary of finance and recalculate that. That means we get less dollars. Okay. So, but then the ladies are telling me, wait, it's not done yet. You know, we're still getting in kids. So we're waiting to the last minute. And that'll change throughout the school year. At the end of the school year is when TA does a settle. TA has the perception that this district for this year, because of whomever was here before me, projected that this district would finish this last year at 1425. So TA with the legislature, as they do with all school districts, they get an estimate from schools so they can set money aside. So they're not short, but if they're short, they'll have to figure a way to settle up with this district. As you remember, the year before, they were short, and they took $90,000 from this last 24-25, and that was an overpayment from the prior year. It is the district's responsibility to watch these numbers, as we're talking about right now, and try to keep a real close watch on that, because TA will settle up with you. They'll take it from you. The responsibility of the district is to be conservative, see how much they're getting at the most.
So if I may, I know the supervisor here, because you might not have been here when those figures were submitted to TA, but my understanding that the amount that we submitted I think was going to be higher than what you just said right now.
That was probably for the prior year, but for this year?
For this year, yeah.
25, 26. Down at the TA website, you'll find a summary of finances, and you'll find in their file that they submitted 1425.
Okay. So we're going to be short almost 900 kids.
Well, compared to the estimate that district provided, you're going to be short compared to what's coming in as enrollment. And again,
And then, okay, let me put this thing here, because that's what happened to us when the state withheld 4.5 million from our funding. Okay, let me. Okay, so that's one of the things that, I know for sure, I've been cautioning our central office that we need to monitor that seriously, because like you mentioned, last year we lost, the state withheld $98,000.
$90,000.
Or, I mean, that wasn't as bad as 4.5 million. And we did not have the money in our general fund to cover it. Because I believe that's been the history school district, that whenever we have a shortcoming, we had the fund balance to cover the difference. So now we don't have a fund balance, so we cannot afford, I don't know what 900 kids translates to in terms of money. I'm assuming it's gonna be more than $900,000. And that's gonna put this budget already no good.
That's why I said that earlier, that these are numbers based on the current data that they had, and this afternoon, they gave me these numbers.
Did they give you any percentage of, I mean, the 1335 is how much percentage of total
The
enrolled?
district is doing what, 92%? Last year, they finished at 92%?
Finished at 91% attendance last year.
91% of this number, the 13 is not a very good number.
Yeah.
And you're correct, but it's not that TA took the money, TA simply didn't send you money because they.
Yeah, they withhold it, because
And the districts
awarded.
shouldn't count on shortfall from their reserves. The reserves are extra stuff for equipment, repairs of buildings, things of that nature, but never a payroll. Don't cover payroll with that. Anyway, getting back to this document, the numbers that you see there on the state side are projections of all those programs, all the programs that are state funded. But that amount there also includes a little bit of money for the extra exemptions that the state has imposed on the entities, not on the taxpayer. The taxpayer is benefiting, I'm benefiting as much as all the other landowners, homestead owners. But the district is the one getting a little bit of a slack, a little bit of funding for that shortfall. Okay. Not much, but it's getting some. Anything is appreciated. Then you've got federal. That federal dollar, that 1,202,000, is for the food service. The food service is a federal program. Prior years to the 24-25, the district used what's called a Provision 2 food service program. That is where kids that paid reduced or paid full, the district covered that difference. And of course, you got the free and those ate free. They call it something different as a community, something or other, but it's still Provision 2. The district coded it under Fund 101 because the district contributes in that difference and takes on that responsibility when they apply for that program. The predecessor here changed it. When you finished the year, you finished with the fund number 101. That was in your audit. It was one of the 100 funds. That had about $600,000 in its reserve. That fund had that much money in it. Some of it's tied to a grant that didn't get spent. But when you crossed over into the new year, the person that helped you in this position changed it to Fund 240. That's the basic food service program. So it went away from the 100s, but as it changed, it took its money with it. The deficit that you saw on the audit of about 1.7 is actually 2.3. What I did here is bring it back so it's coded like it was always before, under the Fund 101, and those dollars come back under that umbrella. Okay? It's still a food service program, but now in the audits and the reports, those dollars come back as it did before. Okay? Do you have any questions about that?
The difference between 240 and the 101, I mean, is one,
240 is just simply the basic food service program. Because the district decided to pay for the kids, the difference on those that had a reduced price, that had to pay a reduced price, and those kids that had to pay full price. The district took on that responsibility. In the other program, there's no such thing. Kids gotta pay full price, or they got their portion, and those that eat for free, eat for free. But we encountered here is, it's simply just perception that kids that ate for free on the line were lesser, and those kids didn't go eat sometimes. They were embarrassed. We took that away. Everybody ate for free. There is no division. There is no label. We got greater participation. And then we provided snacks, and that helped to fund it. And there were some years that it fell short, but the district, the general fund, and the board agreed to help it out some. And not a very significant number, but enough to balance it. If you look over to the 500s,
Okay, I'm trying to recall is that somewhere I recall reading, I don't know if it was from the state legislature or federal government, that if it was federal, the USDA had decided that all kids eat free, no more reduced, no more full. Or maybe it was a state, at the state level, I don't know how that works. But I seem to recall that it was kind of come into effect this year.
I'm glad you mentioned it. I'll keep a note of that, and I'll share that with the food service director, contact with Texas Department of Agriculture, who is the agency that funds the food service program. They also fund the summer food program as well.
Mr. Velasquez, you mentioned the change. So what are the implications if we change it back the way it used to be?
To change it to 240? There's no application. You just simply
No,
change the number.
implications.
The implications that the district now align back those dollars under the 100 column and has the benefit of recognizing those $600,000 under all the 100.
So how does it affect the students in any way?
Oh, no, sir, this is on the accounting side over here. That's all that is. Again, I'll go back to revenue on the 500s, that's debt service. What the district has committed to in bonds, the 500,000, I'm sorry, the $3,606,883 are the bonds, the actual sale of bonds that the district has. The fund number is the 199 fund. We pay that through the debt service fund, the INS, okay? The 85 that you see there is still a debt, but that's a debt that the district took on for $1 million back in 2016, I think it is, and we called it the time warrant. So those were the rules. The only way we could borrow money at that time was through that vehicle. The rules for that is that the district is supposed to set aside or save money at the end of the school year, enough to make the payment in February of the following year. That's the dollar amount the entire year though. That's just in budget. That's what's gonna be transferred from the general fund to the time warrant account. Okay?
So it's one payment per year.
It's two payments actually, on February the 15th and on August the 15th.
So now the question is, that's the old time warrant. We just,
Same time warrant.
huh?
They may have refinanced or done something to that effect.
Didn't we have one before?
No,
That we were paying, forget how much we were paying, and then we just did this new one?
they done a refunding?
Was that what it
I
was?
think it was some of the bonds in 2021 bond that you refinanced, and that got redone, but this is a.
1 point something that we just got?
Over the summer, a loan that we got over the summer.
Yeah, well, so it's not a time warrant? So aside from the time warrant, we now have this loan, is that gonna be reflected in this budget?
It's already in. I've already put it in.
Where is it?
It's because the bonds that you see under the 500 or the payments under 500 are considered long-term beyond a year. They fall under this category.
So you put it under the 3,606?
The loan is under the expense column right below that where you see functions under debt.
Sure.
Or, yes, sir.
Where?
It's inside these numbers.
It's number 71. Number 71 under debt service. It's a total of 5.1 million, right?
Am I looking at the wrong one?
No, you're looking down.
Oh,
to-
oh, you want me to go?
we were talking about revenues right now. Now that number is in expenditures. I know we're still talking about the revenues.
Yeah, me too.
But it's on the expense side, it's not on the expense side, not on the revenue side. Because on the revenue side, you bring in tax dollars or you transferring money to it.
Because it did bring in, oh, but it wasn't for this current budget.
This one is a short term,
Okay,
so it's set up this way. Okay?
Now that 3.6 million, that's being paid from the money received from the INS, right? That money is not being used to pay that loan, the 1 point, okay.
Now, we've got a discussion with our auditors about whether on the expense side, where to categorize it. And sometimes they're particular because they think the rules read a little different, like you discussed earlier, the curriculum and so forth. They vary. We want to stay in line with the auditors. So we'll have discussions with them and we'll come back and maybe even make an amendment for the year starts saying, okay, we're gonna code it this way. What makes them happy and falls under the rules, okay? But currently, this is where it's at. Okay.
Are you going to be going down the revenues?
I'll go down the revenues and finish the last cost. And what you've got there are a total of 3,692,000 for all debt under the 500 funds, which is the two funds, the INS and the Time Warner, under that column. Okay, and you've got the total across the, it's in revenue estimated at $26,005,842. You'll see the expenses below that in the summary by function. The board approves a budget by function. There isn't details. I'll show you some other details, but as an official budget, that's what you approve. What I've shown you down here in the graph is simply how those dollars are distributed. It's hard to read because they're small numbers. If you turn the page, and you can look at that later.
Before we move on to the revenues, the next page, last year when we closed out, or I don't know if we've closed out the budget yet for last year, but there was a number in here for the settlement funds that we received from, you know, we settled off with the, so it was about 1.2 million. Where is that at?
These are dollars for next year. What you're referring to is dollars from this current year that's closing. That'll show up later. That'll show up as we close.
Okay. That's not going to be transferred over as, or,
Not in this document. In this document, this is strictly what is projected for next year. Revenue and expense. It should balance. It does not balance. I'll share that with you in a little bit. If you look in the next page, it's the same information, but with a little more detail, more information on it. You've got function 11 on second page, and you see payroll costs over the top. You've got contracted services, supplies, other, debt service, capital outlay. And that's where the cost is at. That's the top section up here, okay? That's how it's distributed. This budget, this is how much money is going to payroll and by function. 11 being instructional, 12 being instructional resources, which is like library, curriculum, instructional leadership, school leadership, which is usually your principals, guidance, attendance, and so forth down the line.
I see 0 for instructional resources.
Right.
Are we not going to provide?
I think they're funding it from another source. So I don't know which that source is, but they didn't have it this time around. They did have it last year. But the data in here is put in by the HR or generated from HR, transferred in here from HR, the personnel, and whatever salary schedule table the school board approved. That's been implemented with that step from last year. It's basically the same table you had last year. You approved it this year, but what's happened, and you'll see the difference in there, the change is that everyone's got a step. So that's an additional cost. As much as you say, people will say, oh, it's the same table, we're here, we didn't change the table. No, but everybody went from step 3 to step 4 or wherever step they were on, then went advanced, and that incurs cost. It isn't just what's on the pay table, it's an additional about 30% in fringe benefits. That doesn't only impact the state and local funds, it impacts the grants as well. Special ed's got a small grant. So more money. For every dollar they spend, they gotta add another 30%, 30 cents to their fringes. So you'll see that across. The one in the middle, this other section is the one for the current year, what it currently looks like, and it looks, the data in your system that was put in to the school started is what's in here. Okay. That's what the district has been utilizing, and that's why the system generates it. Let me show it to you in comparison. At the bottom, you'll see a comparison right side by side, the 24-25 and the 25-26, and the difference change between the 2 years. It's right in the middle. Okay. So you'll notice that the difference between both of them in instruction, it's gone up about $2 million. That's all instruction. All the way down, you'll notice it actually, for all functions, it dropped about 119,000. It went from the 26 million $590,000 to $26,471,000.
So you say this one, the 24-25, it says original budget. Are these end of year actuals, or
Original budget.
do you have the information on end of year actuals?
We do, it's not easy though, because you compare apples to apples, the beginning to the beginning. Okay? We'll do an amendment as we close the year. The amendment will be simply to sell as many of the debts that the district has and record as much of the revenue that it can possibly get, including due from other sources. We anticipate, the district anticipates, there's a check on the way, or the state's gonna send us one for this year, we'll record it as due from state or due from whatever agency, okay? And then, of course, you've got the bills, and we have a lot of those. You have a lot of what I call, and not a friendly word, it's, you've got a lot of ghost bills out there. I've shared that with you at other times, but I gotta tell you, it's scary. Because I had a vendor in my office, not my office, but in the office, week before last. And she asked to pay her bills. And I asked for a purchase order. She didn't have a purchase order because she says they don't show up with purchase orders. I looked at the date and that bill was from February of 2004.
What?
And I asked, why haven't you brought it over? And she said, I have been. I turned it in to the office that incurred the bill, and I emailed them, I called them, and no result. There's quite a few of that, quite a bit of that. And there's also quite a bit that wasn't recorded in the system or allocated. You all didn't appropriate money for those line items, yet they were expended that way. So that's drawn your budget into a significant deficit. So I share this with you. Last year, you had a very bad audit. What you set up for the year 24-25, you set back since August when you set up that budget. And I don't know that you had this conversation with whoever was here. But this year is not gonna be any prettier. I'm sorry to tell you that, but I've got to tell you that. That's what it is. All these bills that are coming in, I guess what you approved is not gonna balance. Okay.
Thank you for that, for transparency.
Would you say that the district's been sitting on bills and not paying them? And paying as I guess, as we've received money or anything? I mean, because when we review the bills and I see them and, it sees like a lot of bills to AT&T and, a lot of bills to the city of Crystal City. And it's about 200 or 100 line items, which I don't think we can incur over 100 line items to the city of Crystal City in 1 month.
Well, Robert, I've been asking for 3-4 years, revenue, and expenditures, but we don't get them, so it's hard to stay on top of what's coming in and what's going out. I mean, the way it looks to me, and that was scary the other night, the way that guy kept saying, well, backed up premiums. What if we should fall into a grace period and there's a file, a claim filed, and we're taking the employees' money, but we're not going to be able to meet their medical cost. I don't know how we got there. Well, I do know how we got there, but I mean.
I'll give you some information on that and how it ties to budget. I'll share that with you and how the district could possibly get out of it. It's not easy. It's not, but the district as a whole, as a district, as a board, you have been filling that hole, and it's cost significant now. Per employee, you're set to pay $473 per month. That's the district's obligation. You took on that responsibility towards the employee's health insurance. The district has actually paid over $1,200 a month per employee, because the structure of the claims and the bills and the premiums that were charged. So, as the gentleman explained, they offered a number that would meet that, the full number. What the district wants to contribute is up to the district, within the district. But the full premium to pay off these bills that they estimated would come in has not been enough. So the district, because it is liable for that, has put in money and transferred from the resources they've had. Okay. With the presentation that they made, And if the district goes to the program that they recommended, the district would incur a little more cost. It would be about 779 versus 1,200. But the employee would in turn have a little higher cost as well. Anyway, let me go back to this one. So those are the numbers. If you look back on the front page, this is the double. I did it intentionally so that it can stand up. Currently, thank you for bringing it up about the ADA, Mr. Bonilla. This is set up at the 1411 or so. And those numbers are constantly changing because as you hear the superintendent or Garcia mention that TAs still deciding on some things, changing some things, or reinterpreting things, and defining things. They're gonna do that with the resources that they provide the schools. So these will continue to get updated. We want to get one as close as possible, but currently it looks like all funds, the district is short about $465,000 all the way across. So we have to adjust this, and I say adjust this so that we fall in line and in place with our dollars. That means
That's why I asked you, how much can we expect to get from the state in funding? Because I know that, by that time, September? The state has found out exactly what the attendance figure they're gonna use to determine the funding. And if we set up a budget that says we're gonna get, just throw a number out there, 6 million. But because we did not submit the proper attendance figures as per TEA, we only get 4 million. The state decided to sub up by keeping 2 million.
Okay, let me back up a little here and mention this again. The school district, back whenever my predecessor did the numbers, submitted 1425. That's generated some of these numbers. Well, actually, it's generate numbers that TA is gonna pay the district on. The district needs to be conservative with its numbers. Like when I just showed you the 1335, we have to get to a really close number with that one. That means we have to drop this projection of 1411 down to 1435. That's a significant number. But that means that 465,000 I just showed you is gonna get greater. Less money in. So that means you have to adjust, cut back.
The state right now is providing about close to $7,000 per student, correct?
Ballpark.
So at about 100, it's a big amount of money. That's like 700,000.
So
Close to a million.
You, with superintendent's recommendation, should adopt a budget that's conservative, and you don't have to worry about TA. They'll find out what the difference is and what the district is due, but they won't take it until the end of the year, okay? They advance you the money, it would be the of the district, which we did before, is that extra cash, put it in the bank. We wouldn't spend it, we know we weren't due, make some money. You know you're not due those funds, but you don't spend. And when you mentioned those 4 million or whatever that number was, the district didn't take it from you. The district just didn't give it to you because they'd already given it to you before. The district should have adjusted their expenses to meet their actual numbers.
So that was gonna be my next question. So sometime in October, maybe, the business office should have submitted, through the superintendent to the board, an amendment to adjust our budget to cover that money that we did not get.
They should have, but if you think about it, you made all these contracts.
Yeah.
Contracts, usually it's employment. Payroll is your biggest cost. You've done all these contracts and you tried in December and you couldn't do away with some of those contracts. You impacted the paras, those non-contract personnel. But you committed. So when you hire, this was a practice, and I'm not preaching to the choir, but the practice was that when we brought a position in, we also brought the funding number and the amount that we were gonna get from that budget to pay for that position. Because you hire, you don't know if there's money for it. Do you all know that? Do you all have any idea if there's money for it?
For what?
for the positions that you hired, that you approved to hire.
We asked, but
We were told that there was.
yes.
Well, all I'm saying is, that's what we used to do. The director came in and brought the recommendation, and this, who's funding it?
But we were also told to show constraint on hiring, on
Certainly,
positions.
certainly.
Compared to, I don't know if you have the information in front of you, but this year you're projecting 10.24 in instruction, right? Last year, what was budgeted was 7.9. Do you have the actual, what was spent in instruction last year?
I don't have that with me. And like I said, those are gonna be set up, and actually, we won't find out. I'll say, they're saying, Risk is saying at the end of August, because we'll have some of those ghost bills coming in. Okay. If you look at this document,
Well, I guess Fund 11 is payroll costs, correct?
function 11 is instruction. Just strictly instruction related to classroom teachers, student services.
Supplies, materials.
Supplies, materials, everything, not just,
You'll see it across for instruction for on the top portion of that one, it's 10,044,000. That's what's allocated for that, 9.3 million for payroll, 262 for contracted services. In supplies, they've got about 340,000, and that's across all the campuses, okay? And then contracted services, you got about $36,000.
so last year it was 7.6 budgeted, this year we have 9.3 budgeted
Yeah. In salaries, yes.
salaries.
So all of these numbers are subject to change whenever we adopt the compensation plan.
The compensation plan, our HR department was diligent at this. They were preemptive about it. They put it in here to see what the numbers are gonna be. So that compensation plan is in here. It's in here already. You'll see the number in a little bit. It also includes the increase in the staff health insurance, the district's contribution from the 473 to the 779. It's in here. In case you do want it, which seems to be the most prudent to do, because you would get away from having to worry about bills coming in, claims, get away from that. You bought an insurance, it's not your problem. Next year, if there's too many claims, well, they'd adjust the premiums, but that's next year. But for this year, if you adopt that program or approve that, that would go away. Doesn't mean that the claims that are running would go away, but it'd be easier to pay those off or pay them as you go. On this program next year. Again, like I said, the salary table is in here, the compensation plan, and so is the additional health insurance cost. There's a lot of things that are not on here as well.
On the compensation plan, the amount that we're required to pay the teachers that have so many years of experience, the 8,000 or the other one 4,000,
That's in here.
that's there. But that's money that we're gonna be
Well,
hopefully getting back from.
the formula that TA provides asks for those numbers of the head count, how many teachers in this area and then so forth, and those are in here, so those numbers are already in here. With TA updates and revises stuff, we might get more money. Hopefully we don't get less, but we might get a little more money. We're anticipating an adjustment, and we're hoping for the better. Okay. And again, we're going to be, I thought we were being conservative with the 1411, but like I said, they just poured a bucket of cold water on that. 13. Nothing you can do, but that's what's coming in at the campuses. Okay.
Do you have the information of when they estimated the 1425? What was the actual attendance rate?
I can check, but I checked with the business manager that's here, and she says that that was a number that the gentleman that was here insisted on putting on there, and the other staff said we should be a lower number. They understand the system, and then basically they understand the district's climate as far as attendance, and they did not recommend that. But if the district budget's less and TA pays you, you're gonna get the money, don't spend it. Put the difference away. You know what I mean?
But before that 1425, I believe it was estimated was like 1,700, close to 1,800 kids. You know, and that was the estimation prior to the 1,400, so, I mean, we lowered it 400 kids by that
The
time.
risk is that if you started the year in 24, 25 and got paid at the 1,700 and you only finished with 1,400, TA is gonna come in and take money back. Because they overpaid you.
Well, that's what happened.
Yeah. If you look at this document, this gives you, in a summary, it tells you the fund numbers that we talked about, the 100 funds, the state funds. You'll see what's allocated in revenue, and you'll see what's in appropriation. Appropriation is the expense budget. It's appropriated, set aside, and you'll see a difference over here.
If I may, I'm gonna make a comment that one of the things that was, with which we were browbeaten back then, was that we seem to make just one budget. That we should have three budgets. The general budget, the food service budget, and I forget what the other one was, debt service, I believe. Well, they're all mixed up, you get one total. And that we should have a general budget, all the sources that make up the general budget, and then from there calculate what percentage of those are gonna go to cover our expenses. Same thing with the food service, I'm assuming those dedicated only to providing food for our kids. And what percentage of expenditures are gonna get paid from that?
Like I said earlier, when I started the conversation, this is the official format. Those budgets are here. You've got your general, which includes the state. You've got your debt service, and your food service, because it's a 100 fund, is in there as well.
That was a recommendation, when Mr. Medina was saying, it was a recommendation by Mr. Kim at one of our meetings that we had. And I think it was based on that previously the board and the district was being presented a single budget and maybe have not been getting the clarification that it was actually three different items going into that single budget.
I saw on that, when you all approved, where the presentation was made to you a year ago. And I was hot under the collar because I did not believe what the comments that were being made or the recommendations that were made. But nonetheless, we're here, and again, I'm gonna direct you to this one. This one gives you great detail. They do the funds, but if you look on the first page, you see the fund numbers there. Food service has estimated, and these are all estimates because things change. The estimate of revenue is a 1,165,000, and they will schedule, including payroll, including that additional cost of health insurance. It's in their appropriation. It's there. They're balanced. You'll see a zero over to the side. But as you move down the line, you'll see the next fund, which is a special ed fund. The amount currently appropriated or set aside budgeted is 1,057,000. The current cost in this system, because of payroll and maybe a few other contractor services they've got, is exceeded by 191,000. It's over budget. It can balance, but we have to take it from the general fund, take it to Peter to give it to Paul. That means you have less money in the general fund, which is the one that has the greatest responsibility. I'm not saying special ed doesn't have a responsibility. As a matter of fact, special ed has a significant amount of responsibility to meet a threshold they set a few years ago. Their spending was at about 1.7 million. With special ed, and you qualify for federal grants, you've got to maintain that. There's a test that they almost failed it the last time, but solved the problem. They were going to have to send back like 400,000. In Region 20 as well, and they just have done some wrong coding.
So they're required to spend 1.7.
The 1.7, is that the right number?
That's the threshold we have to meet.
They can adjust that number. The only way to adjust it if they're incurring costs, if they hire, I've got to use an example here. They had a director there who was here 20 years, their salary was way up there. That person leaves, retires, and you hire someone with little experience, and there's a gap in pay, obviously, right? That amount can reduce at 1.7. If you buy equipment, wheelchairs, tables, you don't have to buy them again, but you incur them, you take that down, because you don't have to buy it again. You have it there, you provide the service. But you have to document all that. TA wants to know, why did you drop? Do you have a legitimate reason to drop? Is it a legitimate cause or acceptable cause to drop? Okay. But, so they do need more money to meet that threshold. We're gonna have to take it from the general fund.
The thing with the special ed rubber is that we have a lot of consultants that have to provide services for students that, I mean, we don't have the personnel. I mean, you know, this guy, if you have somebody, name us several programs that come,
Like the testing personnel.
the vision, I mean, we have kids that require therapy and vision and all that.
I see that across districts. that
Even-
I help, but.
If we can't, I mean, if we don't wanna do it, we have to do it because, I mean,
That's what I'm saying.
and those people,
They have to get to-
I mean, parts of,
There are grants out there that we can apply for that'll help with this?
They do help, they have idea grants right now there too, but
They can't pay for that. They can pay first, they can only pay for a little bit, not too much, which they do.
it's only so much, but they're supposed to maintain or manage that. So once you get out of hand, it's hard to pull them back. The only way to pull them back, bring that cost back, is what I'm referring to, is you have legitimate reasons that you had acceptable changes. Personnel cost is less because they have less experience. You don't have to buy more equipment because you already have it, things of that nature. And there's a list of that, the categories that can adjust.
we have psychiatrists, psychologists that come and,
You're not the only district in this predicament with special ed.
yeah,
It's easy to say, oh, my child needs it and provide it.
and once it's in the IP, I mean, we have to provide it or we'll be not in compliance with,
I mean, has,
If you move down, you got the next one is the 124, that's the SCE fund. It lacks to appropriate about 719,000. So if it takes on some of the responsibilities or some of the costs that probably are booked in the general fund, the 199, and they can take them on, well, then that cost will go over, okay? And so that'll reduce whatever have in balance that they haven't appropriated and hopefully help some other funds. You've got the early education, that's, I guess, your Head Start. The state allowed for 199,000. They didn't give the district 199,000. That's what you should have based on the numbers, the PEMS numbers. They said, well, those numbers that you have, you should have this kind of money to provide the service. The school district has to flip from taxes about 64, 65% of that cost. TA will help with the difference, okay? But currently, pretty much all salary, you've got about $489,000 in there. You're overfunding and then you're taking it from the general fund. That's money that could be in the general fund to pay for other services. Okay? So you have to manage those. You have to scale those down and maybe you can do with more kids in one classroom. I don't know what the strategy is. That's in the campuses. They know that. My role is just to give you the numbers and where those numbers are spent. But what the state is telling you, this is all you need to spend, 199,000 for the population you have. That population changes, and we get more of those kids that qualify and are identified as such, OTA will help you some more, and the district has to contribute a little more, okay? That's how it works.
that's almost $300,000 that we're appropriating.
It's 286,000, sir. So, now, you go down the line, you've got dyslexia. That's slightly over just by $6,700, and that's one person and their fringes. That might, I don't know how Ms. Garcia might be able to help. She can assist with SCE or something to share the cost, maybe additional services from another program that can share that cost and that teacher so that it's a shared expense. I don't know that part of HR. Yeah.
Would that funding come from local taxes, or would it come from the state or federal?
Again, it's not from federal, it's the state requires you to have so much money for the kids that the district has identified as such, as preschool. And then the school district, through taxes, contributes about 64, 65%. The state puts in the tab, the difference.
based on the information we give them, or estimates?
Based on the information that the district provides TA, and then the district needs to be a little conservative with the numbers, so in case those numbers don't come to fruition, we don't get cut. And if they get cut, it's okay, we know it, you're ready for it. If you move down the line to Fund 199, currently it's showing $699,000 short. You see the two debt services, they're balanced, because the tax rate that we're utilizing, that you are gonna be presented with on Wednesday, is enough to pay that debt, including the administrative fees that they have to pay, okay? Interest and the principal on it, that'll match. There isn't any excess money behind it, okay? The 199, which is a time warrant, it's gonna be a transfer, it's an exact number. Whatever the bill is, that's what's gonna get transferred over there. No more, no less.
We don't have money set aside for the time warrant, do we? We just have to,
We just have to transfer it. We should be keeping it in mind that we're gonna save that much money. That's gotta be in our reserves, so that when the time comes into the year, we transfer that money. And it's already there. Payment for February. It won't be the entire 85, but it'll be most of it.
So last year, we didn't set aside any money for,
They paid it.
but they didn't set any money aside for this year.
There wasn't anywhere to get this money from. Last year, you incurred close to $2 million in debt. You had no money. Had a lot of hot checks. You had no money. It wasn't enough. So if you turn the page, that was in summary. If you turn the page, you'll see it by the categories and function, one year to the next. Those are the functions, the first one being zero, but category zero, which is others. The next one below that is instruction. The TY means this year, the NY means new year. If you look at the first column there, payroll cost. This year was at $7,660,000. The new year is showing $9,300,000.
That's because of the state mandated increase.
Not sure, it's also got to do with the step.
What?
The step on the table.
Yeah, I understand about the step, but for it to go up that much, that would be too much for the, because of the steps, would have to be because the state gave us that money and we're gonna reflect
The
it.
calculation is about a little over about a little over $500,000 that the state says we should get for those 4,000 and 8,000. This number is 1.7 million. That's not too
So that, the 1.2 million is coming from, where's that additional cost from, taxes?
taxes and any other source that we can collect from.
But these are expenses, correct?
This
So,
page is all expenses.
I mean, the district didn't do anything from lowering any of the expenses
If you turn,
last year to this year.
if you turn the page, if you look at the last page, let's do the bottom line. It says final totals for payroll, all payrolls across the budget. For this year, you had 14,345,000. For this coming year, you have 16,900,000. That is not.
we didn't make any cuts.
The next, for the next meeting, can you provide us the amount based off of the 4,000 and 8,000 increase? As well as the total accrued by the step for each, for the employees?
I can do the 4,000 and the other one would be our HR office, because they're the ones that manage that. I don't do that, but I can ask them or check with them.
Ms. Garcia, can you provide that information?
I will tell Ms. Serna.
I know, I think a while back I requested some information from Ms. Briones regarding budgeted versus actual end of year and then monthly, and I never did receive it. But I also requested the total number of employees last year versus the total number of employees expected for this year, and I also haven't got that. But I don't know if we have that information.
I don't have it.
I don't know it off the top of my head, but I know it decreased.
A decrease?
Total number of employees decreased.
Yeah, I mean, we
I just want to, I mean, I requested it, I just wanted to see.
got a lot of, I mean,
It did
employees
go
in
down.
December. Right now, I mean, classrooms where we had maybe 15 kids, I mean, they have about 20, I mean, and foreign employees, I mean. And
let me
we
mention
cut custodians, we cut cafeteria people. I mean,
What, in this budget, if you see, it's short $465,000. The stipends that are in this budget, this budget has the stipends for the coaches, because the coach was trying to have, and he submitted that, and it was done timely, so it was implemented into the salary. That's the only stipend that's in this. I'll put anything you all want in there, but that number's gonna grow. It doesn't have police department stipends, doesn't have extra hours for maintenance, doesn't have extra. Food service will manage if they have extra hours. There's no stipends for special education that you had last year. You don't have the game workers that you pay at the gates, extra money for them. You don't have the UIL stipends, they're not in here. Doesn't mean they can't go in there. But already as it sits, you're short $465,000. But every dollar you all want, you gotta have a balanced budget. Now, if you've got more money coming in and you expect it, you can amend the budget after you approve a balanced budget and introduce those stipends down the road. Salaries, you cannot change salaries, contracted salaries. Okay. You can hire somebody in a new position or fill a position, but you can't.
Gonna impact the budget.
Yes. That's.
Robert, do you know how much we save by cutting days for all the employees?
I don't have that number, sir, because
You
you
look-
cut days, but then they went up a step, so they made some of that money back.
Well, I mean,
I don't know that they made it all back, but
I think at the time that Ms. Briones presented that, I think it was about 165,000 that we cut back. It wasn't a large significant amount of money. It was,
I'm worried about us. I look at these numbers and then I look at the compensation plan and we're right back to where we were before we found out we were broke.
I got a list today,
We found out we were broke. That sounds-
our HR office, and this is a list of the stipends, the various stipends throughout the district for last year. It was 248,875 stipends. Don't know that it includes coaching stipends in here. Athletic, point too, but all the other, for the the gate takers, we paid 11,000, not including fringes. You can add 30% to that, it's at about 11,923.
let's see, Robert, I think, because I met with her on stipends for paraprofessional coaches. And it was a total of $250,000 that was spent. Because, I mean, they were working their 40 hours and they were coaching. And I think that they had told AD and the assistant AD to monitor very closely. One of them did not. So that was the total amount that, and that's why we said we need to stop that. I mean, now we're looking at about 3-4 that they're requesting. I mean, it would be about maybe $6,000.
I had coaches messaging me that we're certified coaches, that is our job, that's our position, and the paras are taking home more than us. Nobody monitored it. Nobody. Aren't we the only district that used a para coach?
yes.
I've never heard of that before.
I don't know that part. And I've worked with a lot of districts, but they don't, most of them don't, that I come across, at least that doesn't come up. You know, they probably have it already set up, system. I'll work with superintendent and the program directors to identify areas so we can adjust costs and maybe save some. Like I said, the items I called out right now, the items that are not in this budget, doesn't even include the position you hired a CFO in here. You can't afford it.
We don't even know the price of what we hired the CFO for yet.
Neither does he. Okay?
I requested that information as well.
So, anyway, I probably shoot myself in the foot, but look, I'm comfortable where I'm at, I don't mind helping you guys out. But, I got another call from last week, I was here in the office, and Minna didn't like me taking that call, but nonetheless, I'm here to help you. And I told Ms. Lerner I'd help you to this point. I'll help you further on, but you cannot adopt a budget that is not balanced. You may have to make a sacrifice on some services or some benefits outside what's the norm.
I don't know how you're familiar with the HB3 model. Is there any way that you can look into that?
Sure.
Maybe start implementing it, because I know that we've been losing money since 2018. I mean, this year projection was at 250 something, 230,000 that we could have gotten. I think it would have been more, because I've worked with the district when I was working with the high school as a success coach. I know that we have students at 15 credits. We had students that were, had their certificates that we could have gotten money from, from the state. That's free money that we're losing. Money that I know that it's a 2-year lag, but if we had started a long time ago, we could have had money coming in every single year after that.
The thing is,
I don't know if it's a PEMS issue, recording issue, I don't know what it is. I keep being told that, you know what, we weren't ready yet. It doesn't mean that it can be done. It doesn't mean that who's ready, who's not. It can be done.
Tracking, it's a tracking deal. I mean, you just need to track the kids.
Wanda?
We just need to track the kids. I mean, I don't know how to track all the kids, and it's a big task to track, but
The college does that for you.
what's that called, Cruz?
Wanda?
What's that called?
it's the HB3 funding,
HB3?
House Bill 3.
House Bill 3 funding.
And the summary of finance, let me tell you how it changes. They put it out there, gentleman by the name of Omar Garcia is the one that developed it. When I started back in 1995 here, it was 3 pages on paper. That was it. And we would change the numbers on the page to what benefited the district or what was more relevant to the district. It's now a spreadsheet that's like 70 spreadsheets attached to it, plus the tables that the state has. And that's updated constantly. They posted one on the 5th, and by the 8th, they had another one because they misunderstood something that they read in the law, and they've updated it, but they constantly change it. It's constant, and we have to keep up with it. And it's just a job, you've got to do it, but as you come to here, you adopt something that, based on that, and it changes tomorrow, it can change tomorrow. I check it at night.
Which function in here would tell us how much is appropriated to like any extracurricular, UIL,
36.
anything?
You look under function 36.
Okay,
That's on page 3 at the top, the first one.
so it's a difference of, I guess, that's 39,000?
39,000 in payroll costs. That one did drop overall by 382,000.
I constantly get calls and I hear things that teams aren't allowed to travel a certain distance because of X reason. I don't know the entire reason. Our students are the only ones that are being affected by our budget shortfalls outside of,
That's not true.
Not true.
Every district is deal with.
And I follow football, Gabriel follows volleyball, and going tournaments here, there, they're not being affected.
My kids are,
They play La Par this week because that's something they do.
and they have to pay for the trip. Parents have to pitch in for the trip. Rides the bus, they don't provide the fuel or the drivers, they have to pay. They pay for the uniforms.
The boys and girls last year went to the state tournaments.
I know all that's funded, but I hear that they cannot attend this tournament that they're invited to or this event that they're invited to because it exceeds 10 miles more than the mileage that they're allowed to travel.
Well,
And
I guess
it's 10 miles.
think have been when they have to travel 3 hours or more. I think that's where we've had to put a stop to it as a district,
Yeah,
when it takes 3 hours to
some
get there.
coaches wanted to go, I mean, all the way to Seguin, I
Yeah.
mean, when you can go play Divine or something. I mean, that's why it will stop, I mean.
Under payroll, our next highest function is extracurricular.
So,
Leadership.
school leadership is, for this year, actually, that one took, it's an increase of only $1,200. If you look at instruction, that increase was in payroll cost, and was $1.7 million. That's where most of the money is at, and again, that's the reason you exist is for instruction. So it makes sense to spend more money there.
But the-
That's the function of a school.
The school leadership function 23, that's the one that's 1.7.
23 is the principal, the campus administration. Sorry about that.
So that increased by 613,000?
Yes, sir. That's what it shows, and that's on the payroll side.
That's what,
Payroll,
but, which,
that's salaries, fringes,
for who?
for the principal's department. It includes their clerks, everybody in that department.
That's so we lost the principal as well, right? Yeah.
My understanding, yes, you don't have a principal in one of the accounts. Element.
And the other thing, I mean, we have younger administrators, I mean, that it should bring it down, I mean, compared to, I mean, administrators that have been 35 years. I mean, most of the principals that we have here and the vice principals, I mean, now with the teachers that are gonna get the $8,000, they're gonna be making more than the vice principals. And, I mean, what they're saying, well, I'm gonna be a vice principal, I mean, and I think and I know we're talking about cutting, but I mean, I would give them a little bit more where they would be at least, I mean, for the job and the duties and responsibilities, I mean, otherwise, I mean, everybody's gonna go back into teaching.
But I mean,
I have to.
I think that's where
I have to say
experience.
something here that, that's, I mean, people may say that, but it's not very logical. Simply because if you have a first year assistant principal, we have a starting salary for that level. Or let's say 3 years, that's the minimum, right? 3 years, they have to be a teacher 3 years before they can get principal. Their pay is gonna be lower than a 25-year veteran teacher. So that's no way, that's not logical at all. I mean, that is making an assumption that's totally, can't stomach that we're gonna raise the assistant principal basic starting salary so that assistant principal with only 1 year, no experience as assistant principal will be maybe 1,000 more than a 25-year teacher veteran. No way. It's just gonna have to be, that's the way it is. I mean, eventually with their experience as assistant principals, go to principals, their pay will go up, not just because of experience, but also because the new position has higher pay. Okay.
Mr. Espinoza, you?
Yes, sir.
I agree with you, but at the same time, the principals have a lot more responsibilities and they work a lot more days than a teacher does. Responsibilities are very crucial
And it's more days also, I mean, the teachers are 187. These people, I mean, work another 20 days more than the 187. All teachers are 187. They stop the last day, the students come, and when the students, I mean, the year ends, the following day, the teacher ends. So we also have to look at the number of days that some of these people are working. They work sometimes 20 more days. And still with those 20 more days, they're making less money. Yes, sir.
You mentioned that these numbers only include the coach's stipend, correct? Part of the,
And I don't know what the band stipend is. I don't know what the band stipend is.
as part of the compensation package we received that we're gonna be discussing at our next meeting, those stipends have not been included, like, there's a stipend in there for assistant principals, there's a stipend in there for a principal. Other stipends outside of coaching are not included in there, correct?
But not included in.
Not included in here.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that, like I said, was from last year, 248,875, last year.
So last year's total,
Yes.
including everything.
For those, no, for those stipends that you mentioned,
Outside of coaching.
outside of coaching, there's spelling, current events, campus coordinator, science, math, art, oral reading, those are basically UILs, but then you got UIL coordinators, science, listening skills, dictionary, math, calculator, theory. What else do we have here? Cheerleader sponsors, all others is cheerleader drill team, ESL, and department heads, special education certification, you gave out stipends for that, for life skills, math, secondary, master's degree, NHS sponsors, ESL, another master's degree.
Have a lot of those stipends anymore.
We got them
Have a lot
in
of those.
December, I think we got half of that, Robert.
Yeah.
But I don't know,
Dollar number that they provided from, and a list of the stipends, so.
Well,
But not
that's a list, but in December, I mean, we got half of those stipends.
we paid half of
I
those.
think they're bringing it back now.
I don't think so.
No.
Those aren't in here anymore.
I was gonna ask you, first of all, I understood that we're gonna pay all stipends twice a year, December and toward the end of the year. That we were not going to include, especially the coaching stipends and the teacher contracts.
My understanding is they're in there already,
But,
the coaching stipends.
No.
are in the-
no, we agree that they were gonna be separate from their pay.
I'll let them know that, but it helps in the sense that it's already part of the cost. You don't want to distribute them that way, or they can be held back, but they're in the calculation.
Yeah, because if you include them, if you include the stipends and the contract, isn't that gonna affect the benefits or what do you call those? things?
CRS or,
Yeah,
It'll all end up the same way at the end of the day, it's a percentage of the compensation.
I don't think we ever voted that we are gonna move stipends that way. But one thing that I see happening with those stipends is that the coaches are already gonna be affected. I mean, it's part of their monthly salary, monthly budget that they're gonna be proposed, right, or that they receive.
no, it was stated here in a meeting that the coaching stipends were not gonna be put as part of the contract, that if anything was some kind of addendum.
It's an addendum.
They're always addendums.
It's not part of their salary.
They're always addendums.
It's an addendum. But it,
Distributed, the 24 payments.
I think that was a recommendation to kind of assist us in being able to pay our monthly bills as a district, to kind of pay them half a year and not make that expense every month. That was kind of a recommendation that was made, but it was never voted on, it was never decided on. But the only issue with that is that I see is that our coaches are gonna be receiving less per month, which affects their budget, personal budget, and then our insurance premiums are possibly going up, so that affects them even more. I mean, it's
the thing is, and I know what you're saying, I mean, it might affect them, but a lot of those coaches or teachers also are gonna get either $4,000 or $8,000, so it's not gonna affect, it might affect I don't see it affecting, the money that they're getting.
But those teachers that earn $8,000, and based off of the information that we received last week, if the insurance premium goes up for a family, it's going up, the district will be paying $700, I believe, but the premium will be $2,200. So the employee is gonna be having to make up the extra $1,500.
But it's for everybody, it's not only for the teachers, I mean, insurance keeps going up every year.
I understand it's for everybody, but that $1,500 is a big hit to $8,000 over a year worth of insurance. That's over $12,000. So the $8,000 increase that they saw is really not the case.
But it's something. Imagine if they weren't gonna get it.
It's a loss of about $4,000.
So, again, back to this, those stipends aren't in here. Okay? They're not in the calculation. I put them in there, you're gonna be overdrawn. When I go change or review the attendance or the ADA, projected ADA, and it's way lower, it's gonna impact it again. That means less revenue. Taxes will be the same, but let me point this out. If the enrollment and the ADA drops to a certain point, the tax has already been established, certified rate. We may have to pay money back. Depending on how low that attendance goes, we may be subject to paying money to this.
For this year, the current year, the one we're adopting the budget for.
Correct.
So based off of your estimates, what would this $465,000 deficit increase to? Ballpark number, not,
Number of just funding what's in budget, not what we owe, about close to, under 2 million.
deficit of 2 million, not including what we owe.
Correct.
That's just,
Now, I was given the instruction by your superintendent to allocate at least $20,000, and that's the number I also suggested, to set aside for the debt that you have to repay to that debt service fund. It's a small number, but gotta make some effort. But you also have the negative that you brought from last year, 1.7 or 2 million.
We have to make an attempt.
You have to make.
It's not gonna look
That's
good.
not in here, we should, but every time you do that, set aside, you have less funds available to fund the district. It's Peter to,
that money's not in here. So that 2 million is actually 3.7?
well, if we incur more costs, yeah. We don't adjust the budget, it just goes up. You cannot adopt a budget that's not balanced. You've been around long enough, as much as I have, the district has frozen salaries. Everybody went up their step, the pay remained the same as that year. And it wasn't for 1 year or 2 years or several years, remember that. I'm not suggesting that, I'm just telling you, this district employees, I was one of them, you were one of them, that had to do it. To survive, for the district to survive and provide services for what it's intended, instruction. Of course, the other items that bring in students is your co-curricular. You want to fund those as well, because some of the kids won't come to school without that. Now that's a tool as well. But you've got to manage them, okay? Right now, we're struggling to pay for fuel.
I heard that one too.
Sure you did, I'm sure most of you heard it. So, really don't want to be here next year. If you manage it correctly, it'll work. Be tight. We'll finish it this year, but you can't come out of it. But you've got to be, got to exercise constraints. And like I said, you adjusted positions, and nonetheless, it's showing $2 million in payroll cost increase. And that's because that table was taken into account simply to see what would it do. And that's the result of it right now. And again, all those items that I mentioned are not in here.
So,
Put them in there, but it'll cost.
do you have like how much we would save if we would not give the step increase?
I can check with the HR, see what the step was before it was implemented and see what that would be, get a ballpark number, because you've added some positions that we didn't have. And those costs you're gonna have to take up.
What do you mean we added some positions?
Like the police officers that you added, you increased the number, that's something you didn't have, right?
Got it.
Uh,
We have had that number of,
I think the fund,
have had that number of officers since we started our police.
You may have had the position, but you had the vacancies.
We have two vacancies that are people that, but we still have
But
the vacancies,
Right.
the amount of money,
you
unless,
didn't incur the cost. That's what I'm saying.
I think the funds were allocated, but they were probably used somewhere else instead of there.
But anyway,
But check,
Robert, quick question, what about the monies from that settlement? Did we ever receive that, or is that still in play, or?
one on, yeah, that's what Martinez mentioned. That was received in this current year and booked, it came to the board, of 1.2 million, something like that. Yeah, that doesn't take part in here.
No.
This is the new budget.
where is it?
We'll probably use some of it and it's in the bank. The rest of it is in.
See, that,
We were gonna use, I think, it was recommended by the attorneys that we use, I think, 400,000 for
Yeah, I know the,
Facilities.
facilities, high school, because,
they
we have
have,
another lawsuit against,
I understand.
people, and they said, well, you want a lawsuit and spend it on something else, so
that was another item that I requested Ms. Bionis to place on the agenda that has not been placed. And it was to allocate the funds, for the board to allocate the funds of the $1.2 million.
I know they had already spent 700,000, that's the number I'm throwing out there that I think I heard, already spent in repairs. So which I understand the district is allowed to take that money and put it back, where they spend it from. But then you've got another $500,000 that needs to go back in there as well.
Do you know what repairs those were?
I think those are the,
I don't know, to be honest with you, I don't know. They had a stack of invoices and stuff that they incurred.
I think those are the repairs incurred to be able to
It's for the
get the facility, I guess, operational right now, or to where it's at right
Bats,
now.
like the bathroom
Bam.
stations.
Central station and things like that.
I know they've worked on fixing it.
I'm thinking that the other
Wasn't that supposed to be
people suing us
approved,
would
or?
really report us if we didn't take that money and put it toward the building that we said was in trouble.
So you're saying some of that money's already been used for
It has been incurred, it's already been used and it's already been spent.
outside of the 750,000 that was previously used from the budget to make the corrections?
I don't know that.
So out of the 1.2, money's been touched from there.
Right. And they.
700,000 was done to reimburse.
But since but that's the thing, we
No,
have
it's
not,
reimbursements.
but we have not voted, we have not delegated that money.
discuss it too.
But the action was not taken. There wasn't any action taken on that
I
money.
don't think it was, I
So
don't think,
anytime there's an adjustment into the budget and that money was budgeted as a X amount, I don't know what the fund was. So anytime that budget is moved within the funds, a vote has to be taken. So if that money was used without a vote being taken, that's misuse of funds.
we haven't closed the budget yet. So
But
the
if the mo-
budget amendments are also presented at that time.
Well, I would like a budget amendment prior to moving the money.
We have a budget amendment next Wednesday, right?
Wednesday to close the year. And like I said earlier, you've got a lot of ghosts still, so it's gonna be very particular that how we close it. We leave some leeway to take in those bills to record them, otherwise, even though you don't have the funds, you need to record them. Otherwise, that's another finding in your audit. You need as few as possible as well.
Ms. Garcia, can you please have the business office or Ms. Briones provide a detail of where that money was used out of the $1.2 million, where it was moved to, what items were bought or what was used?
I thought that
Just a detailed
it
explanation.
could be used to work on the facilities. That was the whole purpose of it.
When we were discussing with our lawyers, they recommended that we can reimburse ourselves X amount of money that was spent as part of reclamation to the project. But as a board, we did not say that money was gonna be moved from the fund that it came into to reimburse ourselves. So I don't think part of the budget or any budget amendment that I've seen, we've seen a plus of 500,000 or X amount of money into the general
We
fund.
need a clarification, man, basically.
Okay.
We need a clarification.
Because
Yeah.
I'll keep trying to tweak those numbers and get as close as we can without impacting it too much. But again, the attendance, the ADA is the big governing factor.
on the,
And sir,
increase.
so I requested that money be placed on the agenda
Truant officers, I
Hey.
think that we would get it.
for the meeting, for us to allocate that money to a certain expense back in May. and it has not.
I told Ms. Madrones that I was not gonna put on the agenda, but to send everybody a memo telling us where that money was.
Well, we never received a memo.
Well,
We didn't receive anything having to do with that money. We didn't take a vote on where that money was gonna be used.
I'm sure we'll get clarifications. But I want to say about those both bills, you mentioned one for 2004. I think those bills need to be charged to the central office people that were there at that time. How come they didn't pay it out back then? I mean, we should not take responsibility. Well, I understand we're the school district now, but there wasn't something that was agreed to, let's pass it on to future school board to pay those bills.
Well, unfortunately, they're under the heading of Crystal City ISD. And that's why.
That's what happened. They were passed forward.
were those bills, I mean, did somebody make a PO?
People-
I remember,
The management has been not the same as when I was here. And we required purchase orders, and as much as strict as maybe the attempt is, it isn't the same way as.
I know of a person that left the district because, I mean, he came with three POs, was never approved. I don't know how he got it. We started getting collections calls. He was called in, and I know they say that he left because, I mean, he was doing something wrong with those.
Anyway,
bills.
I've heard a lot of bills, one of the hindrances said you paid over 1.7 million, I think, or about that much in addition to what you should have.
Yeah, because I mean, this is the first time that I hear about those bills, because I mean, I know, like, when we built the new football field, I mean, and I don't know, it was you or who talked to Hellas, or to let us pay it in payments, the balance.
When we first put up,
And I think we already gave them the last payment, so we don't owe Hellas anymore.
you owe them $200,000.
Well-
And it's set up for this pay period. We don't.
For this pay period,
Set up.
This government budget, yeah.
but we honor the contract that they made with us as far as not giving them the whole amount so we only owe. So besides that, I don't know anybody, I mean, not, we're here or,
Entities that threaten to cut you off. Besides the city, you have electricity, you have a payment plan with your electricity.
but it's been paid, right, or not?
And that's the struggle keeping up, because the money's not coming in. Last payments from TA came in today. We're very worried about the payments that are coming in for the rest of the year to meet the September payroll,
For September payroll,
the 15th.
when do we receive the taxes from?
Start getting taxes until maybe end of October, November.
No, January.
That's even worse, yeah.
That's because in November, that's when the notice goes out. I mean, we won't get a big check either December or January.
So how is the district gonna cover payroll for the next?
we normally, don't we get a payment from TA in September?
You get two in September and October, but you get them until the end of the month. Usually the 25th is the day.
About how much of it?
Usually it's about 40 to 50%, 40%, the first payment in September, and then it trickles down, and then there's one more payment in August.
So in terms of money, what's,
Past due bills eat it up.
Yeah.
in terms of number,
Might be
Eight.
about $3 million maybe.
Payroll.
Yeah.
Robert, do you think that, okay, our first rating is an F. I know that TEA is real worried about us financially. You think they're gonna lower our accreditation?
I don't know how that one works. I don't know. I thought that was tied to the academics only.
yeah.
Not the accreditation, Well, that, when I started, it was tied to the academics. But I think it has a lot to do with the way we pay for our academics and the way we pay as we educate.
Is there anything else that you wanted to let us know?
So, I'll see what about redoing the numbers based on the conservative numbers that we got this afternoon. And I'll check again the TA website to see the formulas change and hopefully got it improved for us. Your decision on what you do with that pay structure is what's gonna impact this. That's the bottom line, because that has gone up $2.5 million from last year. Whether you eliminate positions or not, or didn't increase positions, the current impact is $2,598,000 in payroll alone. But that includes fringes. I mean, you didn't just get, yeah, but 30% of that is fringes. And that also includes that health insurance. But
TRS,
all of those, yes. And I would say that health insurance, you do want to, it's an opinion here. You do want to stay to at least pay for the employees, the minimum employees portion to employee only. And then you have to pay that across the board. You cannot discriminate. You can't say employees only and everybody else pays their own. You can't do that. Whatever you pay for employee only, you have to use it across all the other employees.
Robert, when they had the presentation and we have a lot of employees that select the first
Yes.
option, they don't go with family or
They,
how many,
I don't, let's see if I got that number.
do we save on that or?
On the district side, no. On the district side, you will not save it. It's actually a cost because you are paying more than you should have. If the district keeps that program or the recommended program, and they share, the district will save at least $700,000 for the year. If you take that program, where it's fully funded. Because then you don't have a liability. Well, I gotta fund the pot, The reason you're funding the pot is because the rates aren't correct. The rates haven't been changed. Haven't been updated. And he was being honest with you guys, it just haven't been touched in a long time. I was gonna look for something here, but I can't find it. But again, to balance this thing, there's gotta be some things that gotta be given up. And Ms. Briones is gonna have to determine whether she wants you to add those stipends to the system or not. If you don't add them in the budget is a set of guardrails for you. You're supposed to stay within those boundaries. You can amend within the functions, take from Peter to give to Paul, within the same function. Not unlike the grass, a variance of 25%, they can adjust between objects. Again, they can't exceed the bottom line. And the graphs are pretty much set. Whereas the general fund, general budget, it'll fluctuate. You see more revenue coming in. Like this year, we picked up rental, which you didn't have. It's gonna bring about 15,000 to the district, maybe 36, no, maybe more than 15, $30,000 renting a facility. And this piece used to bring a little over 4,000 a month.
So you have included the federal monies that we're getting there?
We included only for the food service. The other grants are not.
So.
They stand alone.
Yeah, but they stand on their own, but we pay some personnel, we pay some teacher aides and we pay other people. I mean,
Yes.
how much? You taking that into consideration?
Yes, they've done some of that already. I'm not sure up to what extent. Ms.
But
Garcia.
that we can share with you and say, well, I mean, instead of 40, 100, quién sabe qué, I mean.
Well, as soon as that takes place, it
All that-
have that impact on it.
Well, that is already set.
But is it fair or what?
How much is that we're receiving from federal funds or?
$1,076,076
For all four that you mentioned,
for Title I.
million.
Title II, 89,000, 86,000. Title IV is, when I say it's like 76,000, 72,000. And those monies are already, I mean, they're already set the way we're going to spend them.
But they're not there.
So is that,
I don't think they're in,
is that the 1.2
I don't know, the employees are accounted for in.
revenue on the first one?
So there will be more money that can help us with this. Can you get us, maybe a total
Pay the bills.
Wednesday?
Yeah.
Or share it with Robert? I mean, because, I mean, that, what you said, it's close to,
It's just a matter of running a report from the 211 funds, the personnel.
because, can you get the total that you mentioned a while ago? Can you give us the total? Like in Title I, how much are we getting?
It was a million,
76,
76,
$1,076,000.
876?
86, a million 86.
That's just Title I.
That's just Title I.
And
Title II was 80, I think it's 86.
86,000.
Title IV is 70, I want to say 72.
And the other one, or the rural,
There's another grant that comes in, but it's not until November.
November. So, $1,006,000.
A little bit over 2 million?
Yep.
Close.
Close to 3 million, no. Or-
It is close to maybe 2 million, but it's,
Right
I
in,
don't think it's 2 million.
Are our tax dollars
So those are
coming in from taxes?
monies that,
Is that our responsibility to get it to the bank, or does Yolanda send it over there?
Currently, the structure is that they take it to the bank
is the one that comes in November.
and let the school district know. That's always been the case.
Title V,
Oh, okay.
I don't think that's different.
and I think it's about another 70 something
So
thousand.
we're just living off of our state allotment and our ADA.
Taxes have trickled down to.
and that money
Yeah.
be used
They're
for,
eventually trying to get rid of them.
It has very limited allowables. We can't use it
What
for
they're gonna do with us.
things.
But personnel,
If they're, Title I, if they're impacting reading and math, we can use it for reading and math. Title II, reading, math, special, ESL, supporting effective instruction, that's what Title II does. Title IV is for, it's geared towards health, safety, wellness, but it's very limited on what we can spend it on.
so the 1 million, whatever, what can it be spent on?
Title I, supplemental, it supplements supporting effective instruction, but primarily reading and math.
Any other questions?
Look at this document, it give you information, this is where it's on cuts and pieces. Go to page 3, afterwards it says function 81. You see, it says capital outlay, this current year you had budgeted 1,111,000. The coming year is only 200, which is that, the payment on the. You had a lot of items budgeted, those are things you set in place, acting with the rest of the year. You know how impact. Be conservative at the start, and as you see money coming in, reconsider and allocate differently. Upfront, you need to be conservative.
did the district receive any funding when the field house burned?
Yes, they did, they got approximately $300,000, from what I understand, that's already been used up.
The field, or the field house?
Any other questions, any questions? Thank you for your time.
No, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Robert.
Thank you very much.
See you Wednesday.
Guess we might have to consider selling some, still under budget.
The nutrition center.
No, talk about, like, maybe the building across from my house on West Street.
Isn't the nutrition center, the contract up at the county, September the 1st?
Yeah, but I'm not talking about, talking about actually selling.
Grammar?
A grammar.
I like grammar.
We'll be okay. That's true. Maybe looking else, what else we have here?
Tell us we could go pick up cans.
At this time, I need a motion to adjourn.
Move. Second.
Yeah, second by Mr. Mata, questions, concern? Not all in favor? No.